Yo, it's Elliot with Yo Elliot. You got strength questions, I got your answer.
Yo, Elliot.
Today we got a question from our flat-footed friend. He wants to know, yo Elliot, what do I do about these flat damn feet because they're screwing up my knees when I squat and sprint? Check them out.
Yo, Elliot. Thanks. I just wanted to say thanks so much for the great videos you make out. It helps me a lot through my strength training. And I just have a question for you. I have overpronated feet. So what it is my feet are like turned inwards a little bit. So that causes a little bit of knee pain for me when I do squats like 3 times a week, like heavy or deadlifts. Like it causes a little bit of knee pain. And I was just wondering, is there any way you could help me to make the pain go away? Or like when I'm doing sprints, especially right underneath my knee, like underneath my kneecap, I'd get like a stinging pain, and like it really affects my performance. And I'm just wondering if there's like any way you could help me to fix this or make it better. Thanks so much for the great videos you put out. Have a great day.
Thanks for your question, Flatfoot. To best approach this, I want to just give a brief overview of the kinetic chain dysfunctions that create flat feet. If you've watched some of my previous videos, I talk about how the flat feet is really a manifestation of the medial rotation of your femur, your upper legs. Anybody who's at home can just kind of point their knees together, just stand up, point your knees together, and you'll see that your feet do what? They collapse or overpronate like you described in your video. The medial rotation of the femur is generally associated with a dysfunction or a imbalance in the musculature of the hip, namely an anterior pelvic tilt. So again, if you're at home, stick your butt out like Donald Duck, just kind of like rotate your hips forward, and you'll notice that there's an inclination for your femur, your upper leg, to medially rotate, which causes the flat feet. Now, depending on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go, the muscular imbalances in the hip could be due to physiological reasons. Namely, there's a viscerosomatic inhibition. Basically, the deep abdominal wall is not functioning properly because you may be eating foods that you're allergic to. Elliot Hulse makes assumptions based on the presentation in the video. It seems like you've got a bit of a nasally voice. So I'm going to say perhaps you have allergies or asthma. I could be wrong. But that can also create flat feet as we move up the kinetic chain, because if you have allergies, you have a difficult time breathing. This is going to cause you to naturally extend your head forward so you can drop your jaw and breathe through your mouth. And that also would cause that nasally sound when you talk, right? Because you're not getting enough oxygen. You've got to move your body in such a fashion that draws your shoulders forward, kind of rounds your back while you extend your head forward. That creates the anterior pelvic tilt, right? Your hips tilt forward, and what happens? Medial rotation of the femur, flattening of the feet. So, what the hell do you do, right? Let's work from the ground up. The very first thing is you've got to recognize that there are tight and weak muscles in your foot. The muscles on the side of your calf, they're called peroneals, are going to be very tight. If you just look at the way your feet or your entire lower leg performs when you flatten your feet, you notice that the outside of your foot starts to turn up towards the outside of your shin, correct, right? That's because those muscles are tightening. I have my pen here, but I'm just going to use my hands to draw pictures in the sky for you, right? So you got the flattened foot, and then you've got your upper leg, right, or your lower leg. As this part of your foot peels up to the side, you're going to experience tightness in the muscles that are causing that to happen. So you're going to want to foam roll the side of your calf. Long story short. So get on a foam roller, like I've showed you in other videos, and roll out to the sides of your calves, right? Sides of your lower leg. And move up into the knee when you do that also, right? The other thing that you're going to consider, so that's just one part of the kinetic chain, we're going to work our way up, is to correct the muscular imbalances in the feet. I also like to foam roll the actual foot itself, but I don't use a normal foam roller. I've seen people use wine bottles or tennis balls or lacrosse balls, and they kind of step on it and roll it out. Really good idea, because you're going to have a lot of tightnesses in the muscle or the tendons of your toe, especially your big toe, because as your foot kind of pronates, as it turns in, you're probably pushing off your big toe, right? The way you're sprinting, your toe probably starts turning in like this. So you're gonna wanna foam, or you're gonna wanna roll, massage out the bottom of your feet. If you've got a girlfriend, see if she'll give you a foot massage. But somebody to really get in there with their fingers and massage, like their fists, and massage the crap out of your foot. Moving up towards the hip and knee situation. You've probably got really tight adductors, the muscles that cause your upper leg, your femur, to medially rotate, right? So stretch, obviously you're growing the muscles in between your thighs. And when you're squatting, think about spreading your knees. So as you're going down into your squat, think about spreading your knees or showing your crotch. I've said this in other videos. You could also think about your feet. When you're squatting, think about pushing off the outsides of your feet, right? You can actually even kind of roll the inside of your foot up, okay? So we're moving up again. The anterior pelvic tilt is probably associated with tightness in your hip flexors. You're gonna wanna stretch your hip flexors. And on the flip side, strengthen your deep abdominal wall with exercises like tummy vacuums or any type of bracing type exercise that strengthens not just the rectus abdominis and the external obliques, but the deep muscles of the abdominal region. Working our way up again, if my assumption or guess or prejudice is true, then you have a restricted breathing pattern that's causing you to extend your head forward. That will mean that your sternocleidomastoid is very tight, suboccipitals are very tight, pec minor's tight, biceps are probably tight. Those are all muscles you're gonna wanna stretch. Sides of your neck, the back of your neck, your pecs, so that you can retract, bring back those shoulders once again. Strengthening, like I said, is the flip side of the situation. You wanna do exercises that strengthen the thoracic extension quality that I talk about quite often. Using a barbell to do deadlifts with a supinated grip is going to be very helpful for you. Keeping your shoulders down and back as you do your deadlifts. And I also forgot to mention that if you want to strengthen your feet in such a fashion that they no longer collapse, get a towel, lay it on the floor, right? If you imagine the towel on the floor, and take your feet and sort of scrunch the towel up with your foot. That's going to start strengthening the medial arch, the internal arch of your foot. So that's a lot of information. Watch this video again, break down the things that I said. What you really want to take very pay close attention to are the muscles that you're going to stretch and the muscles you're going to want to strengthen. Also, the cues that I described with regard to squatting, where you show your crotch so that you stop, so you can actually get your glutes to start working again. The muscles that get your femur to externally rotate. Your glutes, your glute medius, those are the muscles that cause the opposite of the medial rotation of your upper leg. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, rewatch this, take notes, go and strengthen the glutes, strengthen the upper thoracic region, strengthen the feet, and stretch all the muscles I talked about before. Talk to you next time.
Yo, Elliot!